Hey everyone, I've been playing the new medieval extraction shooter Dark and Darker, and I've been enjoying myself more than I really expected. And since this third alpha just wrapped up here after Christmas, I felt really motivated to actually do some analysis on my fights from my final day of play. Please enjoy. Alright, with the first fight we got going up here, we have a solo ranger that we end up running into in this larger room.
Just a ranger.
Now, having the numbers advantage, this is generally an easy fight, but to do so effectively, we got to understand what we're doing right. So we end up having our barbarian just rush in there, and that's his ideal role. And our fighter here has room to flank from the left and try and cut off any retreat. And I'm trying to do is get my ranged option here and sort of fill in an extra combat with you, because as we go up the stairs here, there is a lack of room for a third person to get into melee. So luckily I've got a bow here, but even if I didn't, even if I just had my melee options, I kind of want to hang back and let these two, who haven't taken any damage yet, kind of fight until they need to retreat. And luckily, this guy isn't hitting any of his shots and we just clean him up, but it's still important to see that we can still learn from these easier encounters.
I'm going to take his...
Let's see.
Alright, with our second fight here, this is just after the first one, and we are kind of separated as a team kind of comes and surprises us. We kind of both fall into our two 1v1 scenarios, and although each of us are winning our duel, we find ourselves in a situation where it's smarter to end up switching targets with another. And we both kind of realize this at exactly the same time. Even before the call is made, I'm over-blocking what could be a life-threatening attack from the Barbarian. And once I have him sort of cleaned up, it's easy to come over and flank the other opponent, who is just, you know, caught between a rock and a hard place.
There's two right next to each other. Let's take them and get out of here.
With our next fight, we get caught a little off guard as we're looting, and we hear some spells being casted down the hallway. Now, this is immediately an indication of other players, because we don't have a cleric or wizard in our party. As we kind of wrap around to kind of engage them properly, they kind of isolate themselves. This cleric pushes up way too hard, and we get a nice little 2v1 on him.
I'm pushing the wizard.
And as I kind of push this ranger here, I realize that he's got all range stuff, so I just got to get close, and with melee we can take him out, no issue. Closing the distance and defeating your enemies' options of attack is really effective, and essentially keeps me from taking any damage here. Now the wizard that I left behind should be able to be handled by these two, but he quickly realizes and makes the right decision to start running away.
Let's keep following him for now.
He gets out with haste and ends up leading us towards another team. Now he doesn't run into the team, but I end up starting to make mistakes, as I kind of realize this wizard here should be an easy fight for me. But I kind of underestimate him, and I'm missing a lot of my shots and get down to my last hit, literally seconds away from dying. And I panic a little bit. I hit my ally with one of the cleaves. That's one of the weaknesses of the Falcon. It's got a wide sweep with most of its attacks, unlike the army sword. It does more damage, but I just hit one of my allies here. And with this other team behind us, it could spell the end. Now they begin pushing us, and as tough as our fighter is holding off these two, we need to get in there, even with low health, and start helping him.
That wizard we killed as a search of... Oh god.
Now I'm kind of cognizant of my weapon arches now after just making that mistake. And I've got some health to work on. We work with this fighter who doesn't have a shield, although he still can block. We lose our barbarian because we're unable to support him enough with all our low health from the first fight. But they do the same thing as the first thing did. Their fighter is isolated here, and both of us are able to kind of just switch off of attacking and defending until we get a nice easy kill on him. And the cleric is just a foregone conclusion. We're both kind of low, and we need to be smart. I accidentally switched to my bow here, thinking he's going to keep running back, but he smartly comes in, and we kind of do the same thing. He's isolated. We got to switch and confuse our enemies. He swings at my buddy, giving me a nice opening to get him with a headshot.
Other team, opposite side.
Here we have what is a fairly common spawn fight. These two barbarians end up coming across the bridge here and attempting to engage us. And what they smartly do, and what we can learn from, is that they use their, although weaker ranged options, to get as much little chip damage on us before they get into melee, where they're more effective. And we got to take into account here, even though we outnumber them, there's only enough room for about 2 guys to fight at a time on this bridge. There's a lot of space back where they're fighting near the shrine, and I'm trying to do as best I can to not hit my allies. I get real close here, but as we kind of chip away at them, our barbarian has kind of ran out of health
One's
here,
down.
and I'm moving up closer and
the
closer to
other
kind of
one.
take his spot in case the
Oh,
fight
get
goes
the
on
fly.
longer, and he needs
Yeah,
to
Mr.
pull
Barbarian,
back
pull
and
back,
heal.
pull back, pull back.
But luckily,
Get that.
we get the last full hit here, and aside from the little skeleton giving us issues, this
Good
is
job,
Beautiful.
a fairly nice fight.
Don't forget to
Now this
fire
next
up.
fight is a
Type
very
yourself
difficult
up.
3v3
Players?
for us.
I'm gonna try and range one.
We have the surprise on the team. Listen, I missed my shot here. Don't miss your shots. He's a non-moving target. We have surprise. That's just my mistake here.
Spot it up.
And as our team actually gets into position and starts moving
might
in,
be our
we
fight,
we
boys.
quickly realize that we're getting
Nice.
outmatched pretty immediately.
Ow.
Our fighter goes down
Nope.
very quickly, and what
Watch
we want to
out for
learn
that
from this
headshot,
losing
lad.
fight is what the enemy does right
Ow.
and does better than us.
Nope.
And what he does here, the barbarian who
Watch
is going
out
to
for
kill
that
all of
headshot,
us in the
lad.
end, smartly takes out one,
Ow.
and instead of switching to
Nope.
me and trying to fight me, the closest enemy,
Watch
he
out
actually
for
goes
that
and
headshot,
flanks
lad.
our other guy who's kind of caught
Ow.
out and isolated.
Nope.
And this is a very smart move because
Watch out for
our
that
barbarian just
headshot,
gets it from
lad.
behind. Nothing
Ow.
is going to save him. And aside from
What?
me strangely
Ow.
missing here and what should clearly be a hit, I mean, the fight's already lost regardless. There's really no reason for me to win this 1v3.
Can you get away?
And
Probably not.
even though I realize this, I'm not going to give up. It's best to try and fight out as best
Oh,
you
he's so
can.
fast.
And another thing we realize
oh,
here
man.
and can take away from this is just how good movement speed
Oh, he's so
is
fast.
as a weapon. Because the barbarian here,
Yeah,
even with the
oh,
two-handed
man.
weapon, is quick enough to dodge my
So we
falchion
can see their inventory
shots.
afterwards.
I can swipe
keep
and he can
spectating.
get back in nice and easy.
You want to look at those guys?
And we
Yeah, he had
all
a
go
purple
down
axe,
the same barbarian.
Purple stuff. These guys are.
Our next fight here is
Barbarian,
another
other side.
3v3.
Inventory.
We quickly realize there's a barbarian over here because we can tell from the shout.
Barbarian, other
But what I
side.
don't realize is that he's got a
Inventory.
cleric buff on him. The green aura around him is from a cleric. And as we support our buddies up here, we have good
Headshot
high
with an
ground. We
arrow,
can
he's
shoot
getting
over our
poisoned.
allies, and we can also
Another barbarian.
spot the second barbarian
behind
coming
the
in ahead
fighter.
of time. He shouts out, and as soon as I'm out of ammo, I move down to melee to take position of our buddy who's retreating. This guy takes so much
Oh my
damage,
goodness.
it's a miracle he
So low.
survives. But he does a bunch of damage to me too, so I have to pull back and heal. Luckily, both of our allies here
Serious?
I'm working on
are
that
still
management.
healthy, so they can
Good.
hold him back. And
We got him in the corner
as the
now.
cleric starts getting this fight, and as we try and
Oh,
run
there's a
down the
wizard
barbarian,
back
the
here,
weaker
too.
of the two,
Okay.
we incorrectly think it's a wizard, probably
Warrior?
just because of the staff, but he's got his shield too, so that clearly indicates it's a
Oh, I
cleric.
cut you off the path.
And
bitch.
they're able to cut him off very smartly and tactically, and I'm trying to cut the barbarian off, who I think has like no
I
health
got
left,
the-
but he just barely
One of them escaped
survives
through the door.
with a shield potion,
Yeah, the barbarian got away, but we got 2 of them.
and we end up cleaning up very
I'm pretty
nicely,
fucking proud
which
of
is some
myself.
AI
I
to
made that
run
jump up
through.
on the thing, so
Cheers in a zombie.
Yeah, there's like.
All right, then
five
this is a
skeletons.
continuation of that fight before. The barbarian hit escapes,
Try and
and we get kind of careless here. There's
Or
a
by me, they're
a
coming.
rough spot here where it's only about
I got you
one
back.
width
Don't get
wide,
caught in there.
and
with
we end
the
up getting
fart.
caught. Not just from the AI, but the barbarian
the
sneaks in
barbarian!
behind us. We don't notice, and he just goes to town on my boys.
He got his revenge.
Not only surprising them, but
Oh,
get it
man.
into what is an ideal combat situation for him.
About to get
What
another.
a fight! What a fight!
What a
And
Chad.
I luck out and escape
I mean,
and
that's
hit
just
a little
barbarian,
lucky
though,
shot up
like,
here
you
to
do
take
that.
him out.
I got him.
But this fight continues
No, you
even
dropped
after
him?
this.
Yep.
So I end up clearing out, trying to get my boys' stuff, and cleaning the AI away from the area. But this party of rangers and rogues come in,
Fuck another team.
and I make a few mistakes here. Although I should just run, knowing I'm 1v3 outnumbered, I end up getting a lucky shot on what ends up being the ranger here. I falsely think that this is a rogue, and I end up chasing this rogue that jumps down here, thinking he's the one I've shot a bunch. And this puts me in a very bad scenario. They're really close and can easily surround me. I see him cloak here, and it's really smart. I can pick out where he's at because I see where he went invisible. But
How'd you know where it
yeah,
was?
I get in here and I
Uh,
can't get the
Could've
kill fast
moved
enough,
if he had
and
the
they end up
perp seal or
isolating
whatever.
me
I'm
and
dead anyway.
finishing me
Yeah,
off,
damn.
surrounding me.
I saw where he went invisible.
A very
He
bad
moved
decision on my part, but
or
one
he
to learn
was,
from.
I just went for where he was at.
And that's roughly 7 or 8 fights we had that I wanted to look a little deeper at and try and learn from. Finding out what we did right and wrong, as well as what our opponents did right and what we can learn from them. The next playtest isn't for a couple of months on February 6th, but I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you are too.